My water sign, Scorpio. Here I am. Thank you for your patience. Y'all know I really be meaning it. When I say that in my little spew and disclaimer at the beginning, I mean it. For real. Listen. So let's get started with you. Let's get you something. Let's get you something to hold you over to next week. Everything will be back to normal. Not sure if I'll be on the camera though, but we'll have some consistent content, okay? All right, so let's get you straight. Let's get you taken care of. Something tells me I may not have been the only person you've been waiting for here. Like as far as, or not even a person, but just like some sort of, I feel like there could have been some delays and blockages, stalling and all that kind of stuff going on. And I feel like what this is going to teach you is just like how to just, it reminds me of that episode of Caillou. I think that's her name. Kylan. Y'all remember her? And I remember they had an episode. My niece was watching it when she was like 3, I think. And it was like, what do you do when you have to wait? You know, find something else to do while you wait. It helps the time go by faster. If you're doing something else that you can handle and you complete it, that releases dopamine. You feel good because you have a sense of accomplishment. And that's why it's just getting you, the energy just wants you to be comfortable with things just flowing, right? And going God's way in a way that's going to be best beneficial for you, where the stars will align. And if you're just focused on like, I need to get this done, it funks up the place. You know what I'm saying? And then you're tainting the alchemy of whatever's trying to take place, right? So if you're having delays or this is stalling out or you needing to switch this out and that out, the energy is happening like that. You're not cursed. No one has bad juju on you. It's just trying to get you used to, first of all, something new, because you're stepping into your own. You're stepping into places that your parents couldn't teach you about, you know, because you're about to be a teacher. So a lot of blueprint forming is happening here, a lot of paving the way. And so you're not going to be able to refer to anything to secure you or make you feel comfortable in this, but yourself. And that's by you remaining calm, you know, realigning or trying to stay aligned as you do things that soothes your body, mind, and soul as you wait for the rest to unfold. Okay, rhyming. There we go. So there you know. There you go. That's how I know when I'm channeling too. It starts to rhyme. So let's get into your energy, Scorpio. So a lot of you could be a little, you know, have your highs and lows and mood swings because of things being stalled or delayed, or you're having to wait for a certain time for certain things. What's very interesting, I'll use myself as an example, and I am a Scorpio moon. There was something I had to wait on, and I noticed that it said it wouldn't clear till 11:11. You see what I'm saying? So these are things you want to pay attention to, because sometimes it doesn't mean no. It just it's like hold on, let the stars get right so we can really get right after this is finished. Or once this is complete, you don't have to backtrack. Or once this is complete, it's going to take you to that next level completely. And you don't have to look back. You don't have to look down. You don't even have to worry about it anymore. But if you want to take crumbs, if you want to force something and go through something with a lot of friction, guess what you're going to bring to your newness? The same old patterns of impatience and frustrations. And you're developing this perception that everything is a fucking hassle all the time. And they don't, like spirit, do not want you to go into this newness like that. Okay? All right, so let's get into it. Welcome to my newbies. Hello to my oldies. My name is Diamond, and you are watching Pretty Blind Eyes. The readings held on this channel are for entertainment purposes only. The discussions held on this channel should not be taken as literal advice. I am legally blind, so I do read Braille on my cards to decipher what they are, but I'm an overall intuitive reader. In the description box below, you can find several ways to interact with me, one of which is the availability to book private readings. That calendar is open. Thank you guys for all the love, support, gifts, donations, journeying with me, and patience. If you have not checked out my Divine Feminine reading, I do explain a lot of what's to come and what in the hell I've been up to at the beginning of that one with the disclaimer. And so I don't want to be redundant. And plus, I don't want to take up anyone's time that just could care less about that and just want their messages as a Scorpio. Okay? All right. All right, Scorps. Let's see what we get here. I just heard 369. So again, yes, there is some aligning happening here. You know, they say 369 is the numbers to unlock the universe. This is something Nikola Tesla found out a while ago. This is something you'll see in your sacred geometry and your algebra and things. I feel like some of you are going to find out what the real deal was concerning math, right? You know how sometimes we're in school and we're like, what do we need to take that for? Don't get me wrong now. Some of it was distractions or just taking up space of things that you could have really been learning to enhance yourself. Because that was the point of the indoctrination, is to keep you stagnant or keep you submissive and keep you controlled. So limited knowledge, because these people on top of us need people to work for them, need slaves, right? So that's that part. But then there are things, though, within these topics, because it ties into that whole, they can't hide what they're doing. They have to put it in front of your face kind of thing. But they also know that if you're not aware and you're not knowledgeable, then you won't know what the fuck is going on anyway. And they hope then by the time you're so frustrated that you won't have the patience to dig into anything. But a lot of times they also know that what triggers curiosity is experience in life. Like a lot of things, if you notice in school, you didn't give a damn about then, but then when you got older, you're like, I remember this in school, but I ain't pay attention to it because why? It was not relevant to you then. All of that shit is intentional. They give you things that they know you're not ready for because they still can say, hey, we put it in front of your faces. It's not our fault that because they knew if it was something you were ready for and then you were that curious about it, you were going to find out too much. The tree of knowledge, right? I'm hearing the tree of knowledge and not life. Three of Cups, King of Swords, and the Four of Cups. Three of Cups, King of Swords, Four of Cups, Three of Cups, King of Swords, Four. 7 of Wands, Six of Pentacles. I feel like Scorpio, a lot of you are going to be drawn into a lot of political platforms, not in a way where you're wanting to be the Senate of a state or the governor of this, the mayor of that. I just feel like intuitively you're going to catch a lot. And I feel like some of you are going to put yourself in places where you're going to hear a lot. This is very funny because they're taking me back to the dream that I had when Whitney died. Like I knew she died before it was announced, because I astral projected around those guys, and I heard them talking about her. They were getting coffee and stuff like that, and I understood I was in some sort of how those conference rooms look at hotels and all that. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And when I woke up, I was like, I have to tell my mom that felt different. Like that felt real, because I only could astral project to Michael Jackson's rehearsals. At that time, I thought they were dreams. I had no idea until I reflected back and I realized I was see-through. Like I was walking through I would try to touch the microphone and my hand would go through it and everything. And it was like he couldn't see me, but I was there. But anyway, so when I had the one about Whitney, it was like kind of like, oh, this feels like those Michael Jackson things that I have, but not quite, I didn't see her or anything. So I told my mom, I'm like, yo, I think they're trying to do something to Whitney or something's going to happen to her. And then she was like, oh, she passed. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, Mom, I heard everything they were saying and how they were laughing and they didn't care and how she was worth more dead than alive. And at that time, I'm not even lying. I'm not even mimicking or repeating anything that I heard from these conspiracy theorists. This is way before I even knew there was a whole sector on the internet of conspiracy theories. I didn't know nothing about any of that yet. I just understood that there were these mean guys who, seen her as just a product, or they just didn't care anymore. And the way they were talking about her, it just bothered me in a way where I knew it wasn't a dream. I was like, they're really about to, because in my mind, I thought they were talking like they're about to do something to her. So for you, Scorpio, a lot of things are going to get very mystical. This ties into, I think Capricorn has been getting us a lot too. And I think maybe your last reading on this channel still ties into this kind of energy too. So a lot of you are going to get interested in putting yourselves around secret societies and stuff, like unlocking mystical studies and things like that, understanding the power in it, and understanding that, to be honest with you, there's a certain level of success, or like the more you alchemize and the higher you climb, the more you have to have a certain concept of metaphysics and things in order to exist on those sorts of levels. those people, I wouldn't say have a healthy sense of it, but they have what I always told y'all, the recipe book of it. Like, we're the ones that always have the infinite knowledge. They watch us mimic what we do, put it in books, then cast us out of it. They make us think we're less than ourselves, and that they have the power because they have to, in order to have us keep this earth going and working for them. Things like that. To have knowledge is dangerous. They know that to a certain degree because they know they're dangerous. Two of Swords, Lover's card with the Nine of Wands. But to have knowledge is also powerful. They know that. And then they know if too many people with knowledge that are powerful could then destroy them. So it's the classical hero villain thing we see all the time. Where do you guys think that stuff comes from? And they make us think like, oh, it's just your imagination. The imagination is the key. That's where all the magic is. It's not a delusion at all. The only time it becomes an illness is when it becomes distorted through trauma and the things that they do. They put trauma and fear and stuff on earth so that you can get a distorted imagination. So you can't tap into these sorts of things to then be yourself and practice what you came here to do and all of that. Well, really, but to be honest with you, this is the game of life. We need the black. The black needs the white. We have to. In that way, that's what being here is all about. So the end goal is to just learn along the way and evolve more so than it would be to make this world a better place. I mean, you can, but what it's all about is finding your heaven here on earth inside out. So you guys are tying into divine feminine. So, we have this whole concept of push back to this, fight that. And yeah, sure, when you do unlock things and bring awareness to things, but do understand it's always this level of torture and torment and darkness that you go through because of the frequency that this earth is in. I mean, we're starting to shift the consciousness and raise the vibration, but do know that every level in the game of earth is gonna be, black and white. It's gonna be push-pull. It's all those universal laws, cause and effect, duality, polarity. That's just what the components are here on earth that we're working within. So this whole dream that people may have that like one day we're all gonna, you have to still have that, because if you didn't have that inside of you to then inspire you to get motivated to unlock more, then it would be worse. But just know, just as long as there's gravity here on earth, there's friction. And so as above, so below, as within, so without, you're gonna have that element in everything that you do. You just are. And once you start to accept that and be present and understand that your heaven on earth is within, and you just always go back within and alchemize yourself, that's how you get the ultimate level of high of living here on earth without being scathed or coming where you can come out unscathed in a sense, right? But other than that, if you think it's you versus them, up versus down, that is true. But the flip side to that is that your superhuman selves don't have to conform to that. So this goes to divine feminine reading about conformality. Is that a word? I think it is. Nine of Swords with the Eight of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles. So yep. So for y'all, you guys are gonna biohack your nervous system, right? This ties into divine feminine reading again with divine masculine here. So shout out to my masculines that's watching their Scorpio reading, because what this is showing me here is that a lot of you are going to learn what your body is saying to you, like what it feels like when it's about to go into a zone of channeling, or when it has a hunch, or when your spirit guide is saying something, or if you get nervous. That doesn't mean that it's something dangerous. Sometimes it means just trust what you feel and be patient for you, Scorpio, and let it find you. But the only way it can find you is if you're not doing what? Running from yourselves. I don't think y'all heard me. The only way it'll find you is if you're not doing what? Running from yourselves. So you have to be still. Be still sometimes. Know when to just stop. Just stop everything and just know. Ain't nothing going nowhere. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Ain't nothing going nowhere. And no need, like all the rushing and stuff too, all the impatience that people be having, it, they are comical to me now. Like how bad they get in that energy and just don't even know that they're pissed trying to rush to work, and they're gonna have a pissy day the whole day. They might make it there 5 minutes early, but guess what? Because things were trying to align them to stay where, like, you know, to stay in alignment or to stay on a path that's more peaceful, being that they wanted to rush, they put themselves in a bad funk. Guess what they're going to attract all day? They're going to be bumping their knee, stumping their toe, making mistakes on their paperwork, whatever. So it don't even matter. If you wake up in a fucked up mood and you don't do anything to align that shit, your whole fucking day going to be fucked up anyway. It don't even matter. So you could try to race time all you want. You could be as impatient as you want, but God's way is still going to be God's way. And he loves us so unconditionally that even if you're pushing against something, it's still, that force is still going to be around you, where the stars are still going to align. And then your little ass going to look back and be like, why didn't I just be more patient if I knew this was going to turn out like that? Haven't y'all had those moments before? It's just like, damn, why was I so worried when this just, and it happens more times than it would of your fear that it's not going to turn out right. Most times it do. I'm going to say 95% of the time things go right, if you don't let fear scare you into thinking that something isn't going to work out. Because that's all that really, I know some of you seen Doug before, the cartoon, and you remember his imagination was so crazy to where he allowed that fear in, and like he would have Patty just in his mind, like he would want to like speak to Patty and tell Patty he like her and stuff, and then he would just imagine the most horrid things that she'd say to him, and Patty was never like that. And the whole contrast to that was that he liked Patty because Patty was not like that, but yet anytime he wanted to tell Patty how he feel or ask Patty to the dance, he always imagined her like talking shit and blowing him off. And I'm like, dude, you know you like her because you know her character. You know she's not like that. But you're letting fear come in and penetrate your mind to think that, oh, well, she is nice, but towards me, she may be that way. That's where that whole inner thing come in at. Yeah, sure, she's great. Sure, Patty is sweet. But I don't like myself enough where I'm not confident enough to think that I'm good enough for her to like me like that. Yeah, she has good character, but as soon as she see my face, all that good character is going to go out of the window. You know, and that ends up being the fear, but that's also a contradiction too, because then it tells a lot about how Doug felt about himself on the inside. Because if she's nice and has good character everywhere else, in the classroom setting, amongst her friends, Patty ain't never get twisted up in nothing. Patty was always trying to do stuff. I think she worked on a newspaper too. Like she got involved in community stuff. He's seen all of this. But just when it came to him, he felt she'd just be evil out of nowhere towards him. But yet she's nice in all these other areas of her life. And that ends up being the fear that people think that, okay, I'm going to try this, but I'm afraid that if I try this and she shows me a mean side after I've seen all this niceness, it's going to ruin that fantasy that I had. Or what if when I say something, she's that same person she is to everybody else? That still could put fear inside of you, because then if you don't think you're worthy enough of that sort of treatment, you're still going to be fearful. So yeah, Doug was a trip, but yes, but I'm just like, Doug, come on. Like, you didn't see her do enough. If she has good character, like, she ain't gonna be that mean to you. Even if she don't want to go out with you, she ain't gonna be that mean. But then people like Doug would think, oh, she don't really like me. She's just being nice. You see how when you don't feel worthy of something, how you just sabotage it for yourself, and how you create all of these barriers around yourself of things is not even true. It's just your mind. It's just the fear telling you that this is how it's going to go. And you're just getting your own way. And things are only as true as you make them out to be. So just as fearful as your mind makes it out to be of something that you fear, why can't it also make something out as positive as it can be? Equally so. It can. It's a law. It's universal law. It's just that because we're such in a dense place, we pay more attention to the heaviness, the contrast. We pay more attention to the friction, the limited, the limit. Like we think everything is limited when it's not. It's the total opposite. You just got to learn how to hack You got to learn how to hack your system and alchemize. And that's what you guys are on. God damn. I feel like y'all got a little collective reading, Scorpio. Well, my name is Diamond. You're watching Pretty Blind Eyes, and I'll see you next go around. Bye.